Now the FreeLayout tool is a really neat tool which allows you to arrange jobs and really minimize that paper usage. It does what's called nesting. It also allows you to print from multiple applications into one print job. Now depending upon your printer model, the FreeLayout tool may need to be installed as a supplementary installation. A lot of the newer machines may already have it in the print driver. So if you don't see it in the printer driver menu, then you'll need to install it from a file, usually on disk or downloadable from the Canon website, and it's called the Print Driver Extras Kit. Now in this demonstration we are using Photoshop to demonstrate how to access the FreeLayout tool, but this tool is available from any application that you can go File, Print. Here we want to make sure that we are selecting our Canon IPF series printer and go into Print Settings. From here we're going to see the usual driver settings, but you'll notice something different. In our dialog box now, a lot of the standard settings are grayed out. And that's because we're using the FreeLayout software tool. When you're using this tool, a lot of the standard settings within the print driver will not be available until later when you go to print from the FreeLayout tool. So all you need to do is set up your page setup and make sure that your page is properly positioned. Now as a general rule, the page size should match your original artwork size. If your artwork is larger, then you will get white space around your image. And if you select a smaller page size than your artwork, then you will crop your image. If you are using non-standard size artwork, you can always create a custom page size under the custom size settings. But if you do that, you need to keep in mind that there are minimum and maximum page sizes available under the custom page size settings. Now, depending upon your printer model, and if you're using a roll, cut sheet, and manual feed, these minimum and maximum sizes can vary. But on a 24-inch roll-fed device, you have a minimum page width of 3.94 inches and a minimum height of 8 inches. Now it's also possible you can resize your artwork using a program such as Photoshop, or you can use the Fit Roll Paper Width tool under Enlarge Reduce Printing. Now this will bypass the page size requirements and scale your artwork to fit to the roll width. But always keep in mind that you need to have adequate number of pixels per inch, enough resolution in order to handle this scale. And as a general rule, you need to have at least 125 pixels per inch at the final print size for a large poster, something that you're standing back from about more than a meter. As I said, a lot of the other settings are going to be dimmed out, so it really makes it a lot easier, as you really don't have to worry about that until later. So again, we've set up our page setup. Our image is now aligned properly to the page, and we can hit print to submit this to the FreeLayout tool. So this is our first job, so now the FreeLayout tool is going to open, and it gets transmitted to the application. In a few seconds it will land on the page. So now we have our first job on the page. Let's minimize that and go to our second image within Photoshop. And here we can do the same thing again. We can go to File and Print. Again, this will open up the Print dialog box. And we're going to go through the same steps. Basically, you're just repeating the same steps as in the first one. You're going through just verifying that the FreeLayout tool is available. You're going to page setup to make sure that you've got the optimum and ideal size for this job. Just double checking that FreeLayout is selected. You'll know it is because in the main dialog box things are dimmed out. That's certainly a key that you've got the right setting. And we're going to close that and say print. And again, submit this as our second job to the FreeLayout tool. And within a few seconds that will transfer to the FreeLayout application. And there it is. So now we have our second job positioned. And we have the option to do lots of things. We can rotate this image and move it around freely. We can scale images. Let's just minimize that and go back to our third job in Photoshop. And again, we go to File and Print and repeat the procedures that we did in the first two. Our print dialog box is going to open. We select the same printer and we go through the same steps as we did before. double checking that FreeLayout is selected, the page setup is selected properly for that particular document. And again, nothing to do here because it will be done later. We could click OK and print. And now our third job gets brought into this application. So let's go to another application. Let's go to Acrobat Pro and let's send a job from that. Now this is one of the big benefits of this software tool is you're not limited to just printing from one application. You can print from multiple applications. Adobe, Microsoft, various different ones. Again, the FreeLayout tool needs to be selected. Your page setup is important to specify the size of the job that's going to go to the FreeLayout tool. And once again, those settings are grayed out. So we're going to also print this document to the FreeLayout tool. And within a few seconds, it will also be brought into and added to our nesting job. So you can see that the Ferrari now has been added to the other three. We can manipulate this job to try and move things around a little bit more if we want to save on media, depending upon the size restrictions. Obviously, you want to keep the size if that's the size that the customer specified, but in this situation, I just want to show you ways that you can move these jobs around to make use of this tool. One of the great things also is it has a snap to guides feature, so it does help in lining things up. We're going to rotate this one as well. And as you can see, it'll bring it up and automatically align with the other image. And one neat feature is you don't have to hold down the shift key to proportionately scale. Just by pulling on the handle, it'll always keep the same proportions. Another feature is the auto arrange up in the top menu. And this will align things for easier cutting. By clicking on this button, it's going to arrange it more efficiently. Under the detailed settings, we now are presented with the standard print dialog box, and all of the printing options are now available, and we can select our media for this particular print job. So all of these jobs now are going to be nested together and printed using this one media setting, which is great. You don't have to worry about setting them individually as we did before, and now the other settings are grayed out because they were looked after before. Okay, so we can say OK to the print properties. We have the option to look at page options, and that'll specify the page length. The page length can be determined by the number of images you set or a manual setting. And you can also set margins around the left and the right, and also the order in which images will be placed on the page. There's a few other options up in the top, but most of them are self-explanatory and depending upon if an image is selected or not. And next we're going to hit print. We can select a number of copies, and that's it. That is the FreeLayout tool from Canon.